Poets Award to Shania Twain.
Just look around and just look at all of you. And up here.
Love you, Shania.
And take it all in. I see so many of my mentors out there. Winona, I'm so glad you're here tonight. You're my dear friend. Okay, well, let me begin by what I was going to say. Of course, thank you. I wanted to say, Kelsey, first of all, thanks for kicking off, right? The show with like, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. That is a song that definitely made a lot of waves in the country music industry. I know. Wasn't exactly, anyway, let's pass over that. But I really care. It did a lot made a lot of headway for me in many, many ways, and hopefully for country music and for country music artists who then were inspired to kick more doors open and be their own individual selves.
Love you.
Tiara, thank you so much for singing From This Moment On. It is one of my favorite songs that I've ever written, and I think you did a beautiful job. Avril, you were just plain old kick-ass. But you should have gone into country music, honestly. Very well in your own genre. Carly, I also want to say thank you to you wherever you are. You are so amazing as a songwriter and a singer. Wow. Anyway, it's just wonderful to be here and to, first of all, to be recognized for my songwriting. And to be recognized in this historic Music City, in this building. It means a lot to me. From the very beginning of my childhood, I grew up fantasizing about what this would look like in real life. And what it must have been like for my music heroes, my songwriting heroes, to have stood on the stage and played their music. So I feel like I'm revisiting that tonight through my imagination as a child, and now I'm living it through Chris Stapleton and Vince Gill, right? And Winona Judd and all of the artists that carried on this legendary standard that we all need in country music in order to carry us on in the future. I remember my very first show here was actually in 1993. I performed here. I wasn't like a soloist or anything. I was just up on stage. I was probably a little lost. This is 30 years ago now. And I played with Steve Mariner and the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. And we sang You Ain't Going Nowhere. I was probably the backup singer, I'm sure, which I'd love to do anyway, but I was nervous and just to be in the building, to be very honest. I love that this award tonight is called the Poets Award. I never thought of myself as a poet. I'm really not sure what the official definition is of a poet still. I believe it is the skill of playing with words and the cadence of how they flow together in a phrase, and how rhyme can just flow off the tongue, and with the accompaniment of melody can create a beautiful story. So, and you know, I learned this very young. I didn't obviously know that it was called poetry, but from a young age, I started writing my own music at 10 years old, my own songs, and I was obsessed with writing songs. It was my obsession. I literally played with rhymes, you know, twisting words and meanings, phrasings to melodies. It was fun. I preferred to play with words than to play with dolls. That was my true playtime. And but the unique challenge of songwriting really is, in the world of storytelling, is the amount of time you have to tell a complete story. There was a French philosopher, Blaise Pascal. He once wrote, "If I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter." And every songwriter, right? You know this as a songwriter. And being able to tell a story and express emotions, feelings in a poetic way in 3 minutes, ironically takes time. It takes much more time and patience. But the hardest part in the end is finding a way to share it with the world. And that is what our industry and all the teams around us make happen for all of us songwriters. And that takes the agents, the managers, the performers that perform our songs, and obviously the labels, and then eventually you beautiful fans that embrace the songs we write. I love you.
Love you.
Now, if I might say, you know, the hardest part for a songwriter is getting it to you, the fans. And it's a challenge. It's a very particular challenge. As a woman from Canada, for me, coming into town. And I've become very close friends with a lot of people here in Nashville and in the US. But, you know, when I first came here, I was an outsider. I was a northern girl from some snowy gold mining town in Ontario, Canada. I mean, far away. And I knew it would take perseverance. It would take tough skin, and reminding myself daily to keep my chin up, you know, stay positive. But I was ready for the challenge. I eventually got my opportunity to record and release my own songs with a dream to reach this moment right here and now. So thank you for this. I wish Chris Stapleton was still sitting here. But anyway, I'm just truly grateful to be standing in this historical venue with all of you, my fellow songwriters and beautiful fans. Thank you. Thank you to the Academy of Country Music for acknowledging me in my role as a songwriter. And you know, the country music songwriters of my childhood wrote about their literal lives and experiences. I mean, I believed them. I believed everything they were saying. I believed I believed Dolly Parton when she sang about Coat-O-Many Colors. She was talking about her life. And that meant something to me, and I wanted to write those kind of songs. I wanted to write what Loretta Lynn was writing, and I wanted to write like Chris Christopherson, and I think there was a naivety when I first came to town with my songwriting. You know, I mean, Willie Nelson, there's so many of the artists that wrote from the heart, And when I came to town, I thought, where are all these writers? I need to meet the new generation of songwriters and get to know the new industry and try to fit into this, because I felt a little like I was coming from my childhood past. But they couldn't have been better mentors. And you know, all I can say is that it's hard to believe I'm actually standing here right now in this moment. My parents would have been so proud. My mother would always listen. You know, my mother was very dedicated to me, but to my music. And she would always put her ear to my bedroom door and like try to listen to what I was writing. And I hated that because I didn't want to let her hear anything until it was finished. So I would just, to really get writing privacy, I would walk out into the bush with my guitar in the middle of nowhere, and I would just write my music. And that is really, it is always been my escapism to sit alone with my guitar and write. I'm a little girl, so from a little girl who sat in the woods alone to write songs, to stand here accepting the Poets Award tonight feels a lot like a miracle, to be honest. So, and I do know I talk too much. I wanted to just say, Chris Stapleton, sorry, I keep adjusting this because I feel like it's twisting. It's okay. When I heard Chris Stapleton sing, that's the difference between whiskey and you. I'm like, okay. I am now in the new world of Merle Haggard. This is the new Merle Haggard, absolutely. The Chris Christopherson, the Willie Nelson of now. And I appreciate all of you songwriters here tonight. To end, some advice to new songwriters trying to find their way. I would say accept to be rejected. You know, expect it actually. Accept criticism, because right or wrong, you will grow from that. Know there are always writers better than you, so learn from them. There, you know, probably won't be a marked path or welcoming signage to follow on the road to success, to songwriting success. But the good news is, if you take the word follow out of your thought vocabulary, you'll realize you're already on the right path, your own path. Thank you, my friends, for this.